I went to Joann's Fabric and I got the elastic. It's kind of like, it looks like for swimsuits. It's shiny and it's really stretchy, but they told me that this, because in the instructions said that no chlorine, but this is a stretchy one and they have used them for like costumes and stuff like that, but they didn't know that if it will like work in the water or not. So I'm just gonna try and see, but like I said, it's a really stretchy one and it's really shiny. And I bought, since my daughter is almost 5'2", she's pretty tall, so I went and got a 1.5 yards for her. I'm gonna start doing cutting it. So I fold it in half. Now I'm gonna cut it half, and then I'm gonna fold it again, cut it in half, and then sew it. And then I will show you how it looks after that. There. This is what we got. Now I'm gonna fold it. To draw the tail because I made a mistake and I didn't add it. So I'm gonna try to make a tail. So I will kind of draw it down. And see how it turns out. Yeah, for a while, I think I like this one. So I'm gonna cut this one. And see how the, okay, let's see how it looks. So this is the way it will look if we attach it to the suit. And since she's so tall, I figure I will cut this one. So when I cut the fabric for this one, we will just attach it here and see if it works. So this is how it's going to look. I'm gonna make it a little bit more thicker. So what I did, I grabbed the one that I already cut. I put it on top. And since I want it more, the tail more thicker, this is what I'm gonna do. I want it like it's to this point here. So I want it a little bit tiny thicker. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to trace it like maybe 1 inch on top of each of the top. So let's see, and just end up in the same point where the other one was, and see how it looks. All the other measurements are perfectly fine except the bottom. I want it a little bit thicker, the tail, than that. So I'm gonna trace this all the way down, and then I'm gonna cut it. And see how this one looks. The other one looked too thin, so maybe this will look a little bit better. And I have to do 3 for my 3 girls. So I need to see first, the first one, how I'm going to, maybe for the second one, I will attach everything when I cut it. I think it's more easier, but just figuring out how to cut the tail, I think that's gonna be the challenge for me. Because I don't wanna, like the first one, you saw how thin it was. So, yes, much better. This one is a little bit thicker than this one. This one was too small. So this one is like an inch more than that one. I think this one is perfect. So let me cut this part and then we can attach it and see how. I want to try to use all the fabric that I can from the first cut, so I don't waste any. Okay. This one, it comes out. So if I go sideways, perfect. So I'm just gonna put some pins so it doesn't move because it's really slippery. I'm gonna start cutting. I am not gonna cut too close. I'm gonna try to cut like half an inch next to it so I have enough room. Okay, here we go. Okay, I ended up making it more bigger because it was not as wide from here. So I ended up making it bigger. So now the half of the fabric that was left, what I did was that I went and grabbed the tail, and I'm gonna first make one and then cut the other one and then sew it together and see how it looks. So let's see. Okay, this is the one that I messed up, so I am gonna be using, I went and bought another yard of this one, so it's gonna be more expensive. That's why I say that if you get half of it first, since when kids are more taller, you need more fabric. So if you cut it sideways and just cut the tail separately and then just add it, that's much easier. Instead of buying more fabric. This is the only one that I messed up by, like I said, by adding the tail when I was cutting it, since my kids are more older. So I fold it all the way down, but I turned the fabric the other way, and I am going to cut her custom, the top, and here it's just like the feet all the way to the top, and this one is like that part that doesn't have the glittery, so I'm gonna have to cut that. And then I am going to cut separate the tail and show you how it looks. And this is what I meant with, okay, this is the pattern at the end. I ended up grabbing just newspaper and making the pattern of the mermaid. This is a tail because I wanted to cut it all straight, but now since I'm wasting so much fabric that way, that's why I cut it to here, and so that I can trace the tail separate. See? That's the tail. So I'm gonna now trace the tail. And this is more easier if, like, when you fold it, and you trace it on your fabric, and you just make that side that you're going to be cutting. Try to not just go, when you cut it, try not to cut it right on the side. I usually leave like an inch all around when you cut, so that way it kind of, when you sew it, it's perfectly fine. So let me cut the tail and I will show you. And this is the tail. So I folded in half the tail, and the fabric is folded in half. So make sure you're always right in the back where it's fold. And then just put some pins to make sure it doesn't slip, because it's kind of slippery. So make sure you put some pins and then cut it. I will show you after I cut it. And this is the tail after you cut it, and those are the double it. So when they sew it, we sew it all the way here. And just what I'm gonna do, since I'm not sure, I'm gonna go to Menards and see what kind of board I can put in here. I have seen different things they have put in there, but I want to make sure it's not heavy, and it's not like too soft. So I'm gonna see what I can find. But this one, I'm gonna have to sew it in all the way to maybe 5 fingers down, so that I could put some kind of board or something in there. And this is how I cut the tail, separate from the top. And then I'm just gonna sew it. So let's see how it turns out, and then I'm gonna go to Menards and see what can I find. And this is the second one that we're gonna be cutting. We're gonna be making 3 of them. Let's see how all of them turn out. This one I actually didn't fold it. I folded the long way, and I just measure because since this one is shorter, she's just like 3 feet tall. I'm gonna make 2 pieces, because if I cut it this way, I lose a lot of the fabric, and then I don't have enough for both of them if I fold it. So what I'm gonna do, I am gonna do 1/2 first, the back and the front, and then the tail I'm gonna cut it separately. That way I have enough for just the tail, because I made a mistake of doing the longer way, and when I did the longer way, I ended up messing up another mermaid custom I made. So since she's smaller, I'm able to, even though I have to sew the tail here, I save more fabric. So I'm gonna show you how I cut 2 pieces. And this is how it looks, 2 pieces. So I just cut a long one, and then I cut the tail. So now we're gonna sew them together like this, and see how it looks. I still have to cut it kind of like to make the curve for the feet here, so they don't have, just cut it straight up so it doesn't have that much on the side. I'm gonna show you how I cut it. So I fold my fabric all the way from the top to kind of cut the side that I was talking about, and then I fold my tail, and now I am going to make a line so that it's not as big in the bottom. So now I'm gonna cut it and see how it looks. Okay, now for this is the tail. So it was cut. So now what I'm gonna do, I bought this stretchy fabric. I'm gonna try to cover it so it doesn't need to be perfect. So what I'm gonna do, I am gonna sew this one together, all of it around, so that I could cover this plastic. And I'm gonna show you how it looks. I'm gonna try to cut a little bit more on the sides so it's more even. But I actually cut it smaller because since it's stretchy, I'm able to, so that it's kind of tight. So I will show you when I'm done.
And this is the result.
So you guys,
Mine is like a cotton candy.
Do you want to?
Mine is like a purple color.
Okay.
She loves it. So let's go try them out.
Okay.
Let's go try them out.
Let's go try them.
How are we gonna walk now?
Maybe jumping.
No, it's gonna break.
Okay. Do you want to turn around and walk with your arms? Do you want to put it in your floor? Yeah. There you go. The other way. In your back. The other way. The other way. No, the other there. The other way. In the back. There you go.
Lay down?
Yeah. Okay.
It's gonna work.
Let's see if it's gonna work.
We're not allowed to go in the shower, so we have to go in the middle.
Let's see. Right here on the side and this
Right
side.
here?
Yeah, right there. I just want you on this side. Okay. Do you think it's gonna work?
No. Oh, it's so thin. Oh,
Is it cold?
it's working.
Let's start.
No.
Is it hard?
It's too hard. They're heavy. Okay, over here. But I can't. They're kind of sinking us down.
Is it?
And they're going everywhere. It's so too cold. Mom, when I try to turn, they all stay. We needed to stick on our feet. It won't let me swim. Look, look,